Great people, welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, we're so excited to have you again. Sequel to what transpired between Father Mbaka and Peter Obi, who is the presidential aspirant of Labour Party. A lot has happened again. Now, when the diocese of Catholic Diocese of Enugu put a disclaimer on the statement of Peter Obi. They also promised that they were going to take some drastic steps, that they are in a process right now. And as at yesterday, if you check our video, you're going to see the video. Um, Father Mbaka came out and apologized to Peter Obi that he was misunderstood, and went further to say that he is a friend of Peter Obi and he doesn't belong to any political party, and started blessing Peter Obi and his supporters and said, that when God says yes, nobody can say no. When God says no, nobody can say yes. And he spoke about a lot of other things. But this morning, something new is up again, which is going to make, let me say, Father Mbaka to go into oblivion, a kind of, because whoever a man of God is because of his followers. And right now, the Catholics have been sent, that's the Catholic, the people who are members of Catholic Church, they have been sent a strong message over attending Father Mbaka's adoration ministry. To show you that Peter Obi is not an ordinary man. This man is anointed from heaven to do a particular purpose. All right, according to the news, the Catholic Bishop of Enugu Diocese, Bishop Tr0ugh, has imposed a ban on Reverend Father Mbaka's adoration ministry. It has been reported that this is coming on the heels of Mbaka outburst against presidential candidate Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party. The priest had declared that Obi, who he described as a stingy man, would never rule Nigeria. This did not go down well with many Nigerians who demanded that appropriate sanctions should be meted on him. In a letter he personally signed addressed to all the clerics, religious, and lay faithfuls in the Catholic Diocese of Enugu, Bishop Onaga had now banned them from having anything to do with the adoration ministry. He said in the letter that, in the light of the happenings in the Catholic Adoration Ministry Chaplaincy Enugu, capable of undermining the Catholic faith and teachings, and order several fraternal corrections and admonitions to Father Camillus Ejike Mbaka, the chaplain of the ministry, and after having given him pastoral directives and guidelines for the ministry chaplaincy, which he persistently violates, and in fulfillment of my pastoral duties as the chief shepherd with the obligation to promote and safeguard the Catholic faith and morals in Enugu Diocese, I hereby prohibit all Catholics, whether you are cleric, religious, and lay faithfuls, henceforth from attending all religious and liturgical activities of the Catholic Adoration Ministry until the due canonical process initiated by the diocese is concluded. My decision is based on the fact that some of the teachings and utterances of Father Camillus Ejike Mbaka at the Catholic Adoration Ministry are not consistent with the teachings and faith of the Catholic Church. Bishop Onaga enjoined all Christian faithfuls to keep praying for Father Mbaka. It has been reported that this is not the first time Father Mbaka is facing sanctions in recent times. The diocesan authority had last year, after placing his activities on hold for a month, also converted the adoration ministry to chaplaincy. He was then asked to keep off politics, but he quickly maintained that no one could stop him from speaking. Those who think Mbaka will be quiet, you are wasting your time, he had said last year in reaction to the ban placed on him from commenting on activities. Wow, this is, this is really serious for Mbaka. One must be very careful when it seems that you are really up there in terms of fame. You're very famous, you are loved by all. Be very careful, because that same, you know, devil who showed up in the book of Genesis and brought down the glory of man is still around. He's still that old serpent, he's still around and he's still doing his work. And unfortunately, I don't know what really happened to Mbaka, and he just spoke the way he did. And unfortunately, what he said was a product of greed. It is greed that have landed Mbaka in this situation. And there's nothing he can do to stop the Catholic authorities from doing what they are doing, because what they are doing is absolutely right. If you feel like talking anyhow, if you feel like embarrassing people the way you like and all of that in your church, very candid moves should be taken. Like, you opt out of the Catholic faithful or Catholic faith, and then you have the right to talk the way you feel like talking. But for you to openly, begin to push yourself into politics as a pastor is totally wrong. I listened to one other man of God who was talking. That one is even the honor of the church. But it was quite shocking how he carefully dished out his words. What he did was even to promote all the people who are vying for presidential position. He said, this one, this is capability. This one, this is capability. This one, even when he mentioned T0ugh and everybody was an uproar in his church, expectation was like, he would have said, wow, so you people are seeing what I am seeing. He didn't say it. Instead, what he did was like, I'm not going to talk about this again, because from all indication, it's like I'm trying to promote some people here. I have to stop here for now. And he started preaching the word of God, because that is what he is called to do. Apostle Peter said unto the people who were saying that their widows and their children were not taken care of when they were hosting a meeting. He said they were not taken care of. Apostle Peter made it so clear. He said, we have not been called to serve tables. We have been called to the ministry of the word and prayer, which therefore means that as a man of God, you are not expected to, show some participation in political issues. Your own is to give advice and pray that the people will be wise enough to make their decision. Encourage them to carry out their statutory responsibility, which is, to go out there and vote for someone of their choice. And you now tell them what to look out for in those political candidates who are coming out. Not for you to just drag out one person and begin to bamboozle the person with all manner of things, irrespective of the fact that you have seen so much. So, Hannes Ndibo was even talking about that he was paid to do it and all of that. I don't know how true that is, but those were the words they used, that even as people are praying for him, that all of this is traceable to possible payment from some southeast, this and that and that and that. And so, but that's not really our concern here. Mbaka need to really retrace his step. He need to have everything so that he wouldn't end up losing the glorious ministry that God has handed over to him. If you need fame, what you do is increase your spirituality. Don't try to leverage on someone who is divinely arranged to salvage Nigeria from the situation we found ourselves. If he's not worthy, if it's not the will of God, give it time. He will just crash down. But from all indication, what we are seeing here is the move of God. God is trying to send a message out that it's time for him to pass through a body, which is T0ugh, to rescue Nigeria from where we have been thus far. And we are hopeful that at the end of the day, all things will work together for the good of Nigerians. That's what I'd like to leave you. Go to our comment section. Let's interact. What's your standpoint now that Mbaka has been banned, or let me say Catholics have been banned from having any form of worship in his adoration ministry? Do you think that he still have a great future ahead of him as a man of God? Let's interact.